In this video, I'm going to show you how to create UIPageViewController, which you can use to create a simple tutorial for your mobile application. And the way it will work is this. A user will start your mobile app, and the first thing they will see is this little tutorial which was created using the UIPageViewController. The tutorial will have 3 pages only, and of course you can have as many pages as you need. So user will be able to swipe tutorial pages left and right, and when done, they can tap on the skip button here to proceed to the next page of your mobile application. So let's go ahead and learn how to create UIPageViewController. I will stop this project and will create a new project. And it will be an iOS application, single view, and I will call it my new UI page view controller example. A language is Swift. Next. I'll go ahead to main storyboard and will resize my first view controller to iPhone 4-inch. Okay, so the very first view that we want to create is the one that will hold UI page view controller itself and the skip button in the top right corner. So let's go ahead and create the skip button item first. I will find the bar button item. I cannot actually create it right away until I have a navigation controller. Right? So now I have the navigation bar and I can drag and drop the bar button item. And I will call it the skip button. Okay, so when skip button is stopped, we want to skip tutorial pages and go to the next view of our mobile application. So let's go ahead and create new view controller for that purpose. I will resize it to 4-inch as well, and I will I will create a label, and I will just position it nicely, and we'll call it the new view. Okay, so we've created UI view controller, but for this view, we also need to create a new file, Swift file. So I will create a new Swift file. And I will call it the next view controller. Language is Swift, create. Okay, the Swift file is created, and now I will go to my the new view and switch to Identity Inspector, and will assign a custom class which I have just created, and it's called the new view controller. What I will also need for this, while I'm here in Identity Inspector, I will need to set the storyboard ID, and I usually set it to the same name as the class is called, the next view controller. Okay, we're done here. Now let's implement the action event for our skip button. So I will go to our initial view controller, the one that has the skip button, select view controller here, hide the right side panel, and we'll open Assistant Editor. Okay, so now we'll select the skip button, hold Control button, drag and drop here, and I need connection of type action. I'll give this function name a name, skip button tapped, and hit the connect button. Okay, so the action is created, and in this video, to make it short, I have prepared some pieces of code so that I do not need to type it and make you wait for me. So I'll just paste my code here and walk you through quickly. So when user taps on skip button, we need to first instantiate the new view controller with identifier that we have set there, the next view controller. Because I don't want to push to a new navigation controller, but I want to kind of replace my existing view with the next view, I'm going to use a different approach. So I will create an application delegate. And the way I do it is it's a UI application, shared application, and then I access the delegate of it. And then I access the window object of my application delegate, and I assign its root view controller a new view, which is the next view controller. And in this way, I'm not going to pop a new window on top of my view controller. I'm not going to push a new view controller. I'm going to kind of replace my existing the view controller that I see with the new one. So let's stop this and let's run a project and see how it works. Okay, the application up and running. We don't have PageViewController created yet, but we have our skip button. So when I tap on the skip button, my view gets replaced by the new view which I wanted. Okay, so now let's go ahead and create the PageViewController itself. I will stop my app for now, close my assistant editor, and expand the right side panel. Go down here to my objects library and find a PageViewController. Okay, here it is, and I will drag and drop it over here. And there's very few things that we need to change here. I'll change the size to iPhone for each. Okay, and for the PageViewController, we don't actually need to create any new Swift file, and the only thing that we need to do here is, first of all, we need to change the transition style from page curl to scroll to allow user to scroll left and right. And we also need to switch to Identity Inspector, and for the storyboard ID, I will set it my page view controller. Okay, so this is it for the page view controller. Now let's create the tutorial itself. For that, we will need a new view controller, which will serve as a tutorial page content holder. I will look for a new view controller, drag it somewhere to my storyboard, resize it to iPhone 4-inch, and position it here. Now, the tutorial page content holder is the place where we create the design for our tutorial pages. And in my case, this page will have only one image view, and it will hold a screenshot of my mobile app. So I will look for image view, drag it, and position it here. I will also need to create a new Swift file. And I will call it tutorial page content holder. Content holder view controller. Okay, and I will go to my view controller and will assign it a custom class. Tutorial page content holder view controller, and I will give it the identity, the storyboard ID, just the same name, tutorial page content holder view controller. Um, okay, so the user interface is created, and now we need to write some Swift logic to make it all work. And for the tutorial page content holder, we will need to create one new outlet for the image view we've just created. So I will select the tutorial page content holder, will open Assistant Editor here, and I will click, drag and drop here, and we'll create um, a new outlet, and I will call it my image view. Now, because content into this page will be set programmatically from a different view controller, I will need to create a couple of variables, and one of them I'll use for the image file name. So I will create a variable and we'll call it image file name, and that will be a string. And another variable I will need is page index, and it will be an integer. And in my view.load, I will access the my image view I've just created, my image view, and I will set its image to a new image named, and here I will need to pass in the image file name, which will come from again from a different file. What do we have here? Replace it. No, I need, all right, image named. Okay, very good. So the image file name will come from a different view controller, and our image will be created, and the image view will be updated with the new image. One more thing that we actually need to do here is for our image view. So I need to go back to my right side panel here. I need to actually select the image view and switch to attributes inspector, and from the view mode I need to change the scale to fill, from scale to fill to aspect fit. This will make my images fit into the image view and display nicely. Okay, now we can connect all view controllers we've created together and make our UI page view controller work. And the view controller that we want to be working next is our initial view controller. So I'll switch to it. So if I'll zoom out, this is the initial view controller. I will quickly update its navigation controller to 4-inch. Okay, so this is the initial view controller, and it will hold the rest of the business object logic that we're going to write. I will hide the right side panel and open up Assistant Editor. Okay, so a user should be able to swipe through tutorial images, which are the screenshots of my mobile application. So let me add some images to my project. I should have some images on the desktop. Yes, screen 1, screen 2, and screen 3. I will drag, and no, I will actually add them to my images here. I will switch to images assets, and I will drag and drop them here. Okay, screen 1, screen 2, screen 3. And I'll switch back to my view controller. Okay, so first thing, I will need to create an array of strings which will hold the names of my images. And I will call them var page images, and that will be an array. And in my view.load, I will create an array of objects, and it will host the screen 1, and there was a screen 2 and screen 3, and these are the names of my images. Okay, next that we want to do is we want to declare the page view controller itself. So I will create a new variable and I'll call it page view controller, and that will be of type UIPageViewController. Okay, and for the page view controller to work, our current view controller needs to conform to a protocol, and this protocol is called UIPageViewController Data Source Protocol. So I will go here and I will type UIPageViewController Data Source. And this data source protocol has some functions that we need to implement. So if I hold on the command button and then I click on page view controller data source, I will go to the protocol here, and it will have some functions that I need to override. The first two I see here right away, the page, the view controller before, and the next one, the view controller after view controller. And then presentation count page and the presentation index for page. So we'll just copy everything that I see here, go back to my my view controller. Needs to go to my view controller, and I will paste it here. Okay, so now let's delete things that we don't need. Okay, first function. The first function needs to return a UI view controller. I will write business logic for it a little bit later. The second one also returns UI view controller. I will write business logic a little bit later as well. I will delete comments. I will delete this line, and I will delete optional. I'll delete this comment as well. So the next function, a presentation count for pages view controller, will return an integer, and this one needs to be the count of our images, the page images, or the number of pages that we have in our tutorial. The next function, I'll also delete all optional things from here. And presentation index for page view controller will be the first one. I'll just return 0. Return 0. And yes, here I also need to return page view count. Okay, so let me implement the business logic for these two functions. These functions are quite lengthy, and there will be actually 3 functions that we'll need to implement here. So I've prepared these functions in advance, and I'm going to simply paste them here. And you may pause the video a bit later and type the code from my screen, or in the description to this video I will also leave a link from which you'll be able to download or copy the source code into your project. So let me paste these functions here and walk you through them. So the first data source function, which is called view controller before, and the second view controller after. So the job of these functions are to make sure that there is a space to swipe and instantiate the tutorial page content holder for the page user is going to swipe to, for the page before or the page after that. And both of these functions use a helper function, which I have implemented above here. It's called page tutorial at index. And this function returns the tutorial page content holder view controller. And the job of this function is basically it instantiates the tutorial page content holder and assigns it the correct image from our array and images. And it is this function that sets the image file name and index, the page index, into our tutorial page content holder. So let me correct a few warnings here that we have. Tutorial page content holder view control, tutorial page content, it doesn't see it. Content holder, yes, this is why. Okay, so now everything is correct. So let's scroll up to our view did load and finish up our setup. So I've prepared a little code in advance, and basically what it does, we instantiate our tutorial, our page view controller. This is our UI page view controller. We've created earlier in our storyboard, so I'll go back to the main storyboard. I'll quickly show you. This is the view that we've created, and we've assigned it my page view controller storyboard ID. So here now in our view did load function, we instantiate that page view controller, and we set this page view controller. We basically say that the data source. We say that this view controller holds the functions that we are implementing here, the view controller before and controller after. So the data source is in here, and then we use page tutorial at index helper function, which is implemented here to instantiate the very first page. Very first tutorial page content holder view controller, and then we set the page view controller here. We set the view controllers here to this page view controller with the direction forward, and we adjust the frame of our page view controller a little bit. We leave some space from the top and some space from the bottom, so that that indicators, the current page indicator, those gray little buttons can be visible. And then we add our page view controller as a subview to the current view. Almost done here with this tutorial, and I think the last thing that we need to do for this tutorial is we need to customize our page view controller page indicators, or otherwise they will not be visible on the page, and we will do it in our app delegate. And we are interested in application did finish launching with option functions. And here we will go to UI page control and then appearance, and we want to customize page indicator tint color, and I will set it to UI color light gray color, and the UI page control appearance current page indicator tint color, I'll set it to UI color red color. Okay, so the current page indicator tint color is red, and other pages page indicator is a light gray color. Okay, so let's run this example and see how it looks. Okay, so it's up and running, and I see it it is working. So the very first image is on the page, and the current page indicator tint color is red, just like I wanted, and I should be able to swipe through my tutorial pages. This is image number 2, and this is image number 3, which is the last image. I see it because my page indicator here is red. Okay, and I am not able to swipe any further, and I can swipe back and swipe forward. And once I'm done reviewing pages of my tutorial, I can tap on skip button and go to my mobile application main view. Here it is. Okay, this is it for this tutorial. I hope it will work for you just like it worked for me. And if for some reason it did not work, please send me a message. As to the source code, I will include the link into the description of this video, and you should be able to download the entire project or copy and paste pieces of code into your app. Okay, happy coding!